everyone. And we ask that first and foremost, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And I am Michael Alexander, but I am sitting in for President Alice Pupil-Comas, who is ill. And she will hopefully join us again next month. And I want to acknowledge that the remainder of commission are on the meeting through Microsoft Teams. I'd like to call for a motion and a second to grant a leave of absence to Commissioner Pupil-Comas.
So moved.
Second.
All right, Pam, would you take us through a roll call vote?
Yes, Commissioners Alexander,
Aye.
Koba,
Aye.
Lamb,
Aye.
Luther,
Aye.
Nemi,
Aye.
Samput,
Aye.
and Strader. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. And now I'd like to call for a motion to approve the minutes of the regular commission meeting of February 8th, 2023.
So move.
Second.
Second.
Pam, will you take us through the roll call?
Yes, Commissioners Alexander,
Aye.
Koba,
Aye. Sorry, I went on mute.
Lamb,
Aye.
Luther,
Aye.
Nemi,
Aye.
Samput,
Aye.
and Strader. Not present. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now, Curtis, I'd like to ask if you would provide us with the executive director's report.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning, Commission. Very nice to see everyone, albeit remotely. Thanks for making this work today. I would like to start again by acknowledging the Port's monthly safety champions, which hopefully you'll see up here in a second. You'll note, again, 4 Port employees who've really gone above and beyond to watch out for safety of themselves and their coworkers and our partners and traveling public. I really want to highlight here Jose Mendoza from the Nav Yard, who's a welder, is really started well in his first year at the Port, working to keep the dredge safe. And also a nice recognition here of Irene Ng, who's working on prevention through design. Just really great Port employees working to keep us all safe. So thank you to all 4 of our safety champions. Today for our safety moment, we've got Andy Souders. And for those of you who haven't met Andy, he runs our aviation maintenance team of about 100 men and women who keep everything at PDX safe and running smoothly. I think a number of you got to meet Andy when we were out, a few months ago at PDX maintenance. But Andy, if you're ready and could unmute and come on and give us our safety moment for the day.
Sure, I'm ready. Good morning, everyone. My name is Andy Souders, and I'm the Senior Manager of Aviation Maintenance at PDX. I'm accountable for the occupational safety and health of all PDX maintenance employees, and today's safety message highlights our ongoing journey to 0 injuries in the maintenance department. My team is comprised of 105 talented individuals tasked with all maintenance activities at PDX, as well as some functions at the Hillsborough and Troutdale airports. This is everything from the runways to the terminal to the roadways. Just like the airport, we are a 24/7 operation here to ensure a safe and positive passenger experience, regardless of the time of day or weather. Prime example of this is the record snow event that PDX experienced in late February. We worked around the clock in hazardous conditions to ensure passengers and airport employees could safely come and go from the airport, and flights could safely take off and land on our runways. While keeping the airport operational was our goal, our focus was on making that happen safely. At PDX Maintenance, we all work together to ensure a safe working environment so that everyone could go home to their family each day. Employee safety is paramount, and no task is so important that we are willing to compromise our safety principles in order to get it done. Everyone at PDX Maintenance is responsible for not only their own safety, but the safety of their fellow coworkers. Our leadership team is visible and committed to our safety goals and practices so that everyone knows they are supported. Near miss and hazard reporting are leading indicators that allow us to make corrections before an accident or injury occurs. Shameless incident reporting encourages employees to step forward when an incident or property damage occurs so that we can prevent the same thing from happening in the future by building corrective action plans and tracking them to completion. While it's not a perfect record, I'm pleased to report the following trailing indicators which allow us to continually evaluate our safety processes. PDX maintenance sustained 0 injuries for 15 months until incurring an OSHA recordable injury in December and another during the February snow event. I'm continually engaged with my leadership and safety staff to support and enable successful completion of our fiscal year 23 safety plan. We understand that successful employee safety and health program is not simply the absence of injuries and incidents, but the existence of continuous improvement journey toward operational excellence. Thank you for allowing me this time to highlight our safety program at PDX Maintenance.
Thank you, Andy. Really appreciate you taking the time this morning. Of course, we just appreciate you and your whole maintenance team. Just incredible, in particular month or so. So thanks for showing up today, and thanks for only slightly being interrupted by the F-15s taking off outside your window.
I tried to power through that.
Right. Well done. As Andy noted, the last few weeks have really been about inclement weather. And when we think about our operation, we were really, I would say, surprised by the record-setting snow in February. As you all know, the weather conditions really differed significantly from what was forecast, and the weather system arrived several hours earlier than predicted. So it stalled over the airport and continued snowing much longer than expected. Staffing the snow event was difficult as a number of our own employees, but also other airport employees ended up stuck in traffic due to poor roadways. Hotel rooms were booked out. So going forward, we're looking at emergency in-house overnight options. We're also thinking about our equipment, which had challenges keeping up with the snowfall at 10 or 11 inches. It was much more than we are accustomed to in one event. I did note my phone popped up this hour and said snow flurries. So brace yourselves, everyone. Should be light, but noteworthy that we're not quite out of it yet. A significant number of flight cancellations occurred Wednesday 2 weeks ago. That's February 22nd, and Thursday the 23rd. Portland airline staff assisted passengers who were stranded overnight with blankets and bottled water, and snow removal teams worked overnight to get the airfield in good shape for Thursday operations. But many airlines had already canceled flights for the day. And again, our whole team stepped up in a really stressful time, and I want to thank all of them for what they do. I'd also like to give a shout out to TSA and Customs and Border Protection, who did an excellent job of maintaining security checkpoint operations despite challenges with their staff not being able to get to PDX. Many of their staff remained at the airport for days to ensure that passenger operations weren't negatively impacted. And we just really deeply appreciate our federal partners. Noteworthy, over at Hillsborough Airport, the runways were briefly closed on the 23rd to allow crews to clear the snow, and Troutdale was closed from the 22nd to the 24th when normal operations resumed. And despite overwhelming conditions and extended hours and short staffing, everyone really worked together, remained positive, and as in all cases with our entire operations team, really trying to learn from this one and prepare for the next. So we have an incredible team that thrives under pressure, and I'm grateful to all of them. Finally, a bit of good news here. We got some great news about our heat pump system at PDX. The U.S. Department of Transportation announced a $6 million grant award for our ground source heat pump system. This follows the $18.4 million that was awarded in 2022 from the bipartisan infrastructure law, bringing the total federal commitment to the project for these upgrades to $24.4 million. The new system, as you all recall, will help PDX reduce our reliance on fossil fuels and reduce the energy required to heat and cool PDX by a mammoth 83%. So just really great news. Appreciate our entire federal delegation for their help in making these grants happen. So with that, Mr. President, I will conclude my remarks. Thank you for your time.
Great. Curtis, thank you very much. Are there any questions from Commission for Curtis? All right. Hearing none, I would ask that there's a motion to accept the Executive Director's report.
So moved.
So moved.
A second? Fantastic.
Second.
Pam, would you take us through the roll?
Commissioners Alexander,
Aye.
Koba,
Aye.
Lamb,
Aye.
Luther,
Aye.
Nemi,
Aye.
Sumput,
Aye.
and Strader.
Aye.
Thank you.
Noted. Thank you very much. And I know that we have 3 individuals who would like to offer public comment. We have listed Mike McTiernan, Abdi Muhammad, and Ibrahim Kasim. And I would like to call each of those individuals in that order. So what we would begin with is comments by Mike McTiernan, and then our 2 representatives who will be speaking to us from SEIU Local 49. Right, Mr. McTiernan, if you're on the line, if you could unmute, and the mic is yours.
Thank you very much. My name is Mike McTiernan. I am a Hillsborough resident and a father to 2 young children. I'm concerned and frankly scared about the amount of lead being deposited by aircraft using AV-leaded fuel at the Hillsborough Airport. I worry about my garden where my children grow food, the soil and playground equipment of their school, and the water that they drink in the creeks that they play in. I worry every day that we wait to deal with this issue is another day that lead is being emitted into our environment that can't be cleaned up. Lead will stick around for generations to come. I'm aware of the EPA's potential endangerment finding and the recent approval of an unleaded fuel being made in Oklahoma by a firm. But these potential solutions are not timely enough. The endangerment finding looks to slowly phase out leaded fuels and ban them by 2030. And the new fuel is not yet produced on any kind of scale. And once it is produced, the logistics to develop and get it into the airports will have to be created. I wonder why we wait for these solutions. I call on the Port of Portland and local and state leaders to try to think outside the box, to develop measures that can stop or reduce these emissions now, and not just in some promised future. I thank you very much for your time and hope to speak with you again.
Thank you very much for taking the time to share your perspective and viewpoints and considerations with us. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I would like to ask if Abdi Mohammed, if you are on the line and able to identify yourself, the floor is yours.
I can speak for Abdi. He is working on joining, but is not presently. So if we can go to the next person and see if Abdi can hop on in just a moment, that would be great.
All right, why not, if we can able to move to Ibrahim Kasim,
Yes,
who is
hello.
also a representative of SEIU Local 49.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. How you doing, sir? My name is Ibrahim Qasim. I'm currently employed with Hunleaf USA at PDX Airport, and I'm a member at the airport's worker union SEIU Local 49. I really enjoy my work at PDX, and I come from a Muslim family, which includes my mother, brother, and 4 sisters. As a Muslim, I'm required to pray 5 times a day, and I'm providing this statement today because I noticed that a designated prayer space does not exist at the PDX airport. Many Muslim workers at PDX airport, including myself, struggle to find a quiet and peaceful space to pray during our prayer times. We are asking that the Port of Portland provide a space for Muslim passengers and workers to pray. Our Islamic religion is the core of all our values. It is a way of life, and we base many things that we do in our daily lives on our Islamic way of life. These values include family, relationships, and interactions with friends and peers, our work, our dress code, and the food we eat. One of one of the main requirements that a Muslim must fulfill is 5 daily prayers, which are scheduled throughout the day and night. The companies that I've worked with for in the past all had a designated prayer space to pray. Even if the space was not official, these companies always provided the accommodation for time and prayer space to pray. I'm also a proud student at Portland State University because not only does this school has an overall great campus, but one of their great attributes is that we have a peaceful and quiet designated prayer area where every student and staff are welcomed. As the holy month of Ramadan approaches, it is even more important that we have a space to pray at PDX. And the month of Ramadan begins on March 22nd this year. Muslim prayers are not a choice but a commitment and a requirement we must always fulfill to God. And I and many other Muslim workers at PDX come to work every week to proudly represent our companies, but we also represent the PDX airport community. And that is why I believe that creating a quiet and peaceful designated prayer space for our Muslim workers at PDX would strengthen the sense of community within the PDX airport. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony, Mr. Kassim, and we appreciate your bringing this to the attention of the board and to commission, and I'm certainly encouraged that there will be discussion and looking at how this should be engaged.
Thank you.
Mr. Cheesewright, is Mr. Muhammad available to offer testimony?
It looks like he may not be able to join in this public comment period, but he's provided written testimony that I hope will be circulated to the commission. So unfortunately, thanks for making the time. He won't be able to speak today.
Commission does have copies of testimony both by Mr. Muhammad and Mr. Kassim. So
great.
Thank you both very much for bringing this to the attention of the commission. All right. Pam, is there any other items on public comment?
No, there is not.
All right, thank you. All right, with that, I would like to call on Dan Pippinger to introduce our agenda item.
Good morning, commissioners. This agenda item is to award a public improvement contract for construction services to Kerr Contractors, Oregon, for the Hillsborough Runway 13R 31 left and runway safety area improvements. The project continues to address wildlife attractant created by a wetland and waterway at the north end of the Hillsborough main runway, and will ultimately remove the wetland and maintain drainage around and through the site. The environmental assessment for this project was approved in August of 2021, and final design and bidding is now complete. This contract would allow the project team to construct the project this summer, and it's been a long-term effort by both the FAA and the port to address this issue. Probably it's about 6 years long. We've been working on this. Here to introduce the item and ask for your approval is Eric Forsyth, Engineering Project Manager. Eric, take it away.
Great, thanks, Dan. Can everyone hear me? Okay, great, thank you. I'm here to request approval to award a public improvement contract to Kerr Contractors Oregon, LLC, for the Hillsborough Airport Runway 13R 31 left and runway safety area improvements project for construction services in the amount of approximately $8.5 million. Next slide, please. The work is shown here on this map. You can see it's quite detailed, quite a bit of earthwork, quite a bit of runway and taxiway reconstruction, stormwater infrastructure, and the removal and replacement of the FAA nav aids at the end of the runway. Next slide, please. As established by the environmental assessment that Mr. Pippinger referred to, Kerr's scope of work is listed here on this sheet. It's quite quite a detailed scope of work, quite complex in a tight area. I included this aerial photo showing most of the runway safety area at the end of the main runway at Hillsborough. We will be bringing the area up to FAA standard and making the runway safer for our customers, passengers, and tenants. Next slide, please. Overall schedule here is shown. As Mr. Pippinger mentioned, we've been working on this project for quite some time. We've been to commission for this project twice already, not including the times for the environmental assessment work. And now that we're complete with final design work and bidding, we can move forward with the final phase of the project, which is our construction phase. We anticipate being complete this fall, and looking forward to the final push to get the project complete. Next slide, please. Budget and funding are shown here on this slide. We've set contingency at about 20% with this current budget due to the risk and complexity of the project, such as the FAA NavAid work that I mentioned earlier. Also, as an example, unforeseen circumstances with the tremendous amount of earth we have to move as a result of the scope. Approximately half of the project is funded through an FAA AIP grant, which is anticipated to be issued in the very near future. We have also set a 10% DBE participation goal for this construction contract, and the contractor is committed to about a 10.1% participation level, which is great. So we're happy with those results. Next slide, please. Staff requests approval of the executive director's recommendation. And I'm available if anyone has any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions from commission? Yes, Commissioner Luther.
I'm just curious, during the construction process, will the traffic for the Hillsborough Airport be rerouted or will be able to serve at the Hillsborough Airport on the alternative pathways, whether there's disruption over what period of time?
Yeah, it's a really good question. We didn't include the construction safety and phasing plan in the materials. It's quite detailed. We will be closing the runway a few times. It's just, basically overnight closures to move the end of the runway 3 different times, essentially shortening the landing and takeoff surfaces in order to accommodate a safe work zone at the end of the runway. We've communicated this phasing plan with tenants already, had a pretty successful tenant meeting out at the airport last month. We're progressing the information with tenants, FAA, and our customers. So essentially the short summary is no hard closures other than small closures to move the end of the runway to accommodate shorter takeoffs and landings.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Are there other questions from commission? And if not, I would call for a motion to accept the executive director's recommendation.
So move.
Second. All right, Pam, would you take us through the roll?
Yes, Commissioners Alexander,
Aye.
Koba,
Aye.
Lamb,
Aye.
Luther,
Aye.
Nemi,
Aye.
Sumput,
Aye.
and Strader.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, we have gone through our agenda and our meeting is adjourned. Thank everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, commissioners.
Bye-bye.
Bye.